Recently, the University of Texas hosted the first annual Eddie Reese Showdown, a stacked in-season meet featuring some of the top teams in the nation. This meet was packed with fast swimming from top to bottom, so let's take a look at some of the most notable results. We of course should start with Gretchen Walsh, who did what she does best and threw down absurdly fast times every time she touched the water. In her individual events, she went 3 for 3 in event wins, winning the 50 and 100 freestyle as well as the 100 butterfly, and in doing that she went some of the fastest times ever. All 3 of her swims were among the top 10 performances ever. As is so often the case with Walsh, her most insane swim was in the 100 butterfly. Here she won a 47.48, the third fastest swim ever, trailing only the 2 other times she's been under 48 seconds. If you need better context for just how fast that swim is from Walsh, look at the swimmer right next to her, Emma Sticklin. Sticklin is way behind Walsh at the finish. She even has time to take 3 full strokes after Walsh finishes her race. Seeing that, you might think that Sticklin wasn't going that fast here, but she went a 49.55, which is a personal best for her, and she's the 10th fastest performer in history, as well as the defending NCAA runner-up in this event. 49.55 is moving. It's just hard to look like that when you're next to a 47.48. While we're on the topic of Emma Sticklin, she had a very strong swim in the 200 butterfly, winning the event in a 149.87, which is actually quite a bit faster than the 150.99 that she went to win the NCAA title in that event last year. That's it for Walsh's individual swims, but she had 2 particularly notable relay splits as well. On the 200 free relay, Gretchen Walsh blasted a 20.09. That is the second fastest 50 free from a flying start ever, trailing only her 19.95 from ACC's last year. But her 100 butterfly split on the 400 medley relay was even crazier. Here, she went a 47.15 to completely shatter the former fastest split of 48.76. What's more, she was out at the 50 in a 21.71, which is actually faster than anyone else not named Gretchen Walsh has ever been in a 50 fly from a flying start. Staying in the realm of crazy relay splits, let's change lanes to the men's meet, because there were some very exciting relays with some crazy splits. ASU's Johnny Kulo was lighting up the sprint freestyles on relays at this meet. His biggest split in the meet was on the 200 free relay, where he ripped a 17.97. He also had 2 very fast 100 free splits on the 400 medley relay and the 400 free relay, clocking times of 40.42 and 40.55. Joining Kulo on those winning ASU relays was Ilya Karun, where he dropped some monster butterfly splits. On the 200 medley relay, he split an 18.90, which is just 1/100th off of his fastest split of all time of 18.89. Then on the 400 medley relay, he threw down a 42.80, which is just off of Josh Liendo's all-time fastest split. In his individual events, Karun went a 43.90 in the 100 butterfly and a 139.18 in the 200 butterfly. That 100 fly time is actually just 5/100ths off of his personal best of 43.85. Gretchen wasn't the only Walsh sister who showed some speed at this meet, as her older sister Alex Walsh was also ripping some fast times. In the 200 IM and the 100 breast, she posted the fastest times in the NCAA this year by large margins, and her time of 56.98 in the 100 breast stands as a new personal best. One of my favorite battles of the meet was in the 500 free. Here we saw Jillian Cox and Katie Grimes locked in a tight race for the entire time. It wasn't until the final 100 where Cox was able to increase her lead to a more sizable amount as she touched first. Cox already owned the fastest time in this event with her swim for midseason, but her time here was just over a second off of that. Meanwhile, for Grimes, this was her first 500 free of the NCAA season, as she now sits in 4th place. Between these two and the reigning 500 free NCAA champion Bella Sims, this should be a very exciting race at the end of the year at NCAA's. Hubert Koch pulled off a very impressive double on the Friday night session, placing second to Ilya Karun in the 100 fly and then winning the 100 back, and with times of 44.05 and 44.60, I'd say he was pretty successful. Koch also pulled off wins in the 200 back and the 200 IM, events where he already leads the NCAA season rankings. One breakout star of sorts for the Texas Longhorns was freshman Kyle Peck. Peck went 3 for 3 in personal best in his individual events, and not by small margins either, as he not only lowered the times he was going in high school, but the best times he then went at midseason. Peck's drops in these events were enough to push his current standings from well outside of scoring range into potential A-final territory territory at NCAAs. And that is crucial for a team like Texas that's gunning for a team title at NCAAs, as that is the kind of scoring depth that you really need to be a real contender. This meet, of course, was teeming with fast swimming, and I can't cover every single swim, so leave a comment with your favorite swim that I didn't mention. But aside from just the results, I want to talk about this meet as a whole, and what I think some of its major successes were. This meet was attempting to put on a show, something that we're seeing more and more of from NCAA programs for their regular season meets, and the main focus was a session on Friday night, a session that managed to draw in over 2,300 fans. This meet did a lot of great things in terms of improving that spectator experience, working the lights and music, having walkouts for events, actually selling beer, and so much more. I'd say that the Eddie Reese Showdown is up there with the Battle at the Burr for a fantastic blueprint meet for anyone looking to improve the spectator experience at their own dual meets. One of my favorite details that I think probably went unnoticed by many was the fact that after each event, they would announce the number of points that the team that scored the most points in that event had earned. I personally think that regular points updates are super important for growing the college swimming audience, because no one who doesn't already follow swimming really knows what a 47 in the 100 fly actually means, but anyone that's watched the sport before can understand what points are. I just would like to see this taken further, maybe not after every event, but every so often give a full rundown of the current standings for the teams to give the audience even more context. There was one big complaint that I saw all over while this meet was going on, the fact that despite this meet being 3 sessions long, only one of them was streamed. The thing to remember is that this is an annoyingly complicated issue that doesn't necessarily lie in the hands of the swim and dive program. It all comes down to broadcasting rights. These are typically negotiated on a conference by conference basis, at least for the Power 4 conferences, and in this case, the exclusive streaming rights lie with the SEC network. The issue that this creates is that they are the only entity allowed to broadcast Texas athletic events, even if they have no desire to actually do anything with those rights. Since they have the exclusive rights, no one else can come in and just start streaming. A glimmer of hope is that in previous years, highly anticipated events like this at Texas had 0 ways to stream them, so 1 out of 3 is a notable improvement. And if a large enough amount of people tune into that one session, which might not be super unlikely given how highly anticipated this meet was for swim fans, that could turn enough heads to at least move swimming higher and higher up the list in terms of priority. Like I said, this meet did a ton of things right when it comes to building an intense and exciting atmosphere, and based on the results we saw, that atmosphere proved to be the perfect fit for fast swimming. What did you think about the Eddie Reese Showdown overall, and what do you think other programs looking to improve their meets should steal from this meet in particular? Let me know down below.